Hello, I'm Mr. Hueth, and welcome to a new edition of Comics, etc. in a new and exciting area, aka my room. So, you know the rendition of this one. However, I need to add a addendum to it. I will not be reviewing a random comic. As you can see, there's no random comic for me to pick up. So, we're going to go with some stuff that I've been picking up, and hopefully it'll be stuff that I haven't talked about before. If it has, please leave a comment, and I will address it. And by address it, I mean I'll be like, whatever. Alright, for my first issue, I'm going to be talking about Drifter. It's for Drifter. Alright, I don't know if I've talked about this comic for a while, but Issue 1 was really lackluster. Issue 2, a lot more lackluster. Issue 3 kind of built it up. It added lore to a comic that really either needed lore or content. But lore is like the background to the content of the story. And they didn't add a lot to the story as they did in 1 and 2. But they added a lot of lore to add to the universe. And the lore is so much more interesting than the content. Issue 3 adds these creepy dudes in the background, which I won't spoil what they're called. These are so cool. I recommend this issue, issue 3. I give this one you know what? I'll give it a 9 out of 10. It's weird. I actually put this issue down twice. But when I got to the part when it really picked up, oh my god, I could not put it down. Oh my god, it was amazing. For my second issue, I'm going to talk about something, you know what, before I even get to the comic. There was a movie that was released a long time ago called Galaxy Quest. And honestly, it was one of my favorite farce movies. As in, like, it spoofed a whole genre of Star Wars, Star Trek, all the entire, like, series of fantasy, like, sci-fi. And it did so good at it. Galaxy Quest was an amazing movie by itself. And so, they released Galaxy Quest, The Journey Continues! Issue 1. And this comic, let me go over the goods first. The good. Oh, the story in this is so good. Because they attribute the actual movie to this comic. And that is something that they tend not to do. But definitely Ghost in Galaxy Quest is an amazing movie. Amazing. It's amazing. So, let me go over the positives. The art in this is pretty good. Like, I won't say astounding. That's a long shot. But it's pretty damn good. So, for Galaxy Quest pluses, the story builds right off from the movie, and you know what? That's perfect. The characters build off from the series, building off from the end of the movie, which is perfect, and characters from the movie that could have been ignored, very easily could have been ignored, were not ignored, and they were added to this movie, and I won't say exfoliated, but they were really explored. I know exfoliated is exfoliate. They were explored in this, and by explored I mean explored. They'll be explored more. But a couple of the characters in this that kind of were touched on in the movie, they were really looked at in this, and hopefully the look at in this will bring a real microscope to those characters in the future of this arc. And so, I forgot to go over the negatives for Galaxy Quest. For the bad things about this, if you look at the cover of the comic book, and you look at any of the characters, they look nothing like the actors that portrayed them in the movie Galaxy Quest. And you know what? As much as I'm like, I understand that, that's a huge deal. Like, the movie Galaxy Quest was made on the fact that so many famous actors participated in this movie that was a huge spinoff. and they couldn't get the rights to recreate those actors. You know what? That is a huge minus. A huge minus. Now, most would be like, oh, that's like a -2. It is a -7 on this. So, this would get a 9 out of 10. But you know what? Because I just did the math on that one. Actually, plus all the other stuff. This gets a 6 out of 10. That includes the -7. It has a lot of good stuff in it. A good arc. Good art. Good arc. But the characterizations of these characters is so far off. Except for maybe Taggart. Taggart is pretty spot on, but one thing that's slightly close to accurate. Last comic in my comic series before we get to our favorite. We're going to go over something I've actually been waiting for quite a while once it was announced. Star Wars! Ah! I love Star Wars. Alright, so before I even get into the actual comic, I want to brag to you. It's not much of a brag, but since I've been subscribing to Loot Crate, I have also gotten the variant cover with Han and Chewie. Which, Han and Chewie, oh yeah, I want them. Of course I want them. It's Han and Chewie. But for cereal, let's talk about the comic. Art, pretty good. Arc, I guess it makes sense. Story-wise, I want to see where it goes, I guess. So I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10. Now, I didn't talk about this much, and I give it a 7 out of 10. That's crazy. But you know what? It's so interesting and so Star Wars-y that I want to know more. They actually answer a big question that I've always had. How did everyone seem okay with Darth Vader being back? Like, Han Solo's scene with Darth Vader when he appears on Cloud City is perfect. Many people have talked about this, where he just kind of draws the gun. He doesn't blame Calrissian for this issue. He doesn't blame himself for not looking beforehand at what could happen. Darth Vader's there, and Han Solo quickly draws his gun and just acts in the scenario, which adds to his character. And that is one of the greatest things I love about Star Wars series. However, this answers the question, why didn't just be like, whoa, Darth Vader's back? He just said like, oh no, Darth Vader! And it answers that so completely. And it adds some suspense to it. Suspense that you know that, it's going to be resolved. It's totally going to be resolved. But how is it going to be resolved? That's what you want to know. And as much as I'm very against Disney buying Marvel and Star Wars, even though it produced this, which is amazing. The fact that they address why Darth Vader's back and no one is like, whoa! That is awesome. And I applaud Disney and Marvel for doing that. That is actually really cool. And as much as I hate them for subverting the already established canon, you know what? You bought it. You bought it. It is yours. Establish your new canon. Do it. Good comic. I recommend you pick it up if you're a Star Wars fan. If you're not a Star Wars fan, look at it. For the last one, I am going to look from my buddy Guy. Oh well. So, I'm going to address one of the comics that we always go over every week. I'm going to use his absence as a way to show my true opinions on Future's End, a comic that we've been bashing for no end. Oh my god, so much fun to bash this. Oh, so good. We're in issue 38. 38. And theoretically, this comic, I should say, this comic should be ending on 52. Issue 52 should be the end of this comic, which A, I'm looking forward to, and B, now that I've read this comic, I'm not looking forward to. It sounds so weird. I bashed this comic to no end. Even though one of my favorite points was the Superman vs. Brainiac cover, in which it was green and purple. Brainiac, Superman cover. This has nothing to do with it. However, it does have one of my favorite covers. The Batman versus Batman Beyond versus Batman/Joker standoff. Or, as we have called it before, the Batman Beyond Plastique versus Batman/Joker standoff. This is the main stand of the comic. Batman Beyond, my favorite Batman, and Batman against future Batman/Joker. Which, if you haven't been following the series, good for you. Let's give you a round of applause. You've done good about life, just in general. Good for you. I'm so happy for you. But if you have been following the series, this is actually an amazing comic in the series! Amazing! Guy may argue with me. He is wrong, and he doesn't know what he's talking about. Look, the art in this one has totally changed. And as much as I don't like the Frankenstein Amethyst arc, it adds depth to it. And you know what? As much as I loved Black Adam and Hawkman and the Engineer to all of that arc, having just those two seems so bland. Until they added this comic. And oh my god, it seems so awesome! They acted Dr. Frankenstein. This is an issue in which I actually like 50 Sue! I bashed her so much in the earlier series. But, oh my god, she's so much fun in this. Her, Cole, and Lana, they work so well off of each other. So, Future's End! This issue, believe it or not, guy's not around. 9 out of 10. This issue so picked up my hope for this series. The art isn't my favorite, but you know what? The art works so well on what's going on in the series that, oh my god, I love it. Hey, guess what? I'm done with comics. Hey, this has been Comics, etc. for this week. If you have any comments on any comics we should read, anything, any trades that we should look at, anything that we need to talk about, please let us know. We want to know. We want to know what you want to talk about. We want to talk about it too. But you know what? We can't talk about it unless you tell us. So, leave your comments and your messages comment section below. And as always, remember who you are, what you are. Don't cause any trouble out there in that world. And remember, never give up, never surrender. In a Buzz Lightyear accent. Taters. Netflix. It's definitely free on Amazon Prime. So if you have that, kudos to you.